This is the NBA Trade Deadline Show on ESPN Wisconsin. Alongside Gabe Neitzel and Ben Brust, here's Alex Strouf.
ESPN Wisconsin's Trade Deadline special, just under 2 hours to the NBA Trade Deadline. And to answer the big voice guy's question, looking like no, he will not be traded at the deadline. That's Giannis Antetokounmpo. Shams Charania, just about an hour ago, tweets, the Milwaukee Bucks have indicated to teams that they are keeping Giannis through the trade deadline and will start making other trades. Sources tell ESPN. And then a minute later, they traded Cole Anthony and Amir Coffey to the Suns for Nick Richards. And a guy Badgers fans will know. You might know him as Nigel Hayes. Now Nigel Hayes-Davis coming back to the Bucks. Alex Strouf with you. Gabe Neitzel with me in the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All studio in downtown Milwaukee, just up the street from where the Bucks play basketball. And seemingly Giannis could still play basketball, Gabe?
I'm fully expecting him to play basketball for the Bucks this year. And I know there was, again, you always have to be careful on social media. If you're not reading it from the initial source, you got to be careful that somebody who's aggregating that information could be taking some liberties because, guys like Brian Windhorst, Shams Charania, Mark Stein, like all these different people end up, going out a bunch of different places and people try to paraphrase the best that they can, and it may misrepresent what they're saying because there was a report, I'm putting that in air quotes, from earlier today. That with Brian Windhorst, who was on Get Up, or was it Get Up or First Take?
First Take, I think.
So he was on First Take talking about, okay, if the Bucks keep him, he would suspect that the Bucks would shut down Giannis, which first makes a ton of sense. Mm-hmm. It makes a lot of sense because for the Bucks, to me, the best path forward is to have the draft pick that they own this year to be as high as possible. Either A, to trade it for a different asset you want to put next to Giannis, potentially to keep him to stay, or you end up drafting a good enough player that Giannis goes, yeah, I want to pair with this guy, make a run at it over the next couple of years and sign the Supermax extension that's available to him on October 1st. But again, people were saying, oh, this is what Wendy's reporting. No, that was him giving his opinion. Because Eric Name, who obviously we know is very plugged in here, our buddy Eric Name over at The Athletic covering the Bucks saying, no, Giannis is going to play. Because guess what? Of course Giannis is going to play. Mm-hmm. If there's one thing that I think everybody can agree on with the Q&As that he did over the last 2 days with Jim Ozarski and then with Eric Name, like Giannis wants to play basketball. No matter where that is, he wants to play basketball. And if we're talking about him staring his basketball immortality in the face, like even if he realizes this team isn't a finals team, he doesn't want to waste any moments and going, yeah, just shut me down for the rest of the season. No, he wants to get out there and play. That's who this dude is.
No competitor would face that decision and say, you know what, let's just call it and tank for the draft pick, especially Giannis of all people.
Correct.
So as Eric Name reports and as Gabe alludes to, here's the tweet from Eric Name and the report from Eric Name on The Athletic. Giannis Antetokounmpo still plans on playing this season once he has fully recovered from his right calf strain to help the Bucks make a push for the postseason, league sources tell The Athletic.
Now, am I willing to bet that ends up take long? Him getting on the floor is going to take longer than Giannis wants.
Yes.
Because he did also admit to Jim Ozarski that he came back too soon from the previous calf injury. So I think he wants to make sure that all of his ducks are in a row and everything's good to go with that calf before he tries to push it and try to help make the Bucks make a postseason push, which is still going to be a big uphill battle. I mean, we're talking more play-in. And, maybe you get in via the play-in, and in Giannis's mind, he's going to talk himself into making a run the way the Miami Heat did when they were the 8 seed and the Bucks were the 1 seed because the Eastern Conference is so wide open. But the good news is, let's bask in this for a moment.
Yep.
2 hours from now, the trade deadline is going to pass.
Mm-hmm.
And Giannis Antetokounmpo is still going to be a Milwaukee Buck.
Correct.
And so, but I think that's just more of a, okay, you can just exhale type of moment. And go to Fiserv Forum, enjoy him. I don't know if this is going to be it for Giannis. Because the thing I guess I was worried about as all of this was hitting and Giannis is injured, man, is the last image we're going to have of Giannis in a Bucks uniform here in Milwaukee, him tweaking the calf and barely being able to walk off the floor. Is that the last image? And the answer to that is now no. He's going to play at some point again this season, and you don't know if it's the last ride, so get your tickets and make sure you catch Giannis before the end of the year at Fiserv Forum. because this is all going to heat right back up once we hit the summer months. Like this is going to heat all up. And I know there are people out there probably on social media trying to take victory laps on, NBA insiders who are saying that this could happen. Well, no, I mean, it could have happened if somebody offered something serious for Giannis. I think that's the lesson to be taken away from here. And teams are going to have more access to draft picks, more access to money in terms of trying to build their roster this offseason. So unless the Bucks make some moves between now and NBA free agency coming up this summer, we're going to have to go through this all again unless they can find a way to kind of convince them to stay.
Gabe Neitzel, Alex Strouf with you. And as you bring that up, it brings me to this. This week is as real as it's ever felt in terms of a divorce between Giannis and the Bucks. It's as real as it's ever felt. There's been rumors for months that date back since before the season began. And as we are now less than 2 hours away from the trade deadline, and we seemingly think Giannis will remain a Buck, it makes you think, okay, the divorce papers have been picked up from the courthouse, but neither party has signed the divorce papers. And if we get past that 2 o'clock deadline, that allows John Horst and the Bucks contingency to do whatever they can over the course of the next several months to win Giannis back over, win his heart back over, prove to him that they're serious about winning championships. And there is a legitimate path to do that. Now,
it's not. I just sorry to interrupt you. The Bucks are serious about winning about championships.
Of course.
Can they put a team that can actually put a team together that can actually do it? Is the thing, because the Bucks have done.
Yes.
The Bucks have done everything in their power to try to put a winner around Giannis. And this is, again, we're getting to the end of the road here where there's only so many rabbits John Horst and that front office can continue to pull out of hats because they've traded so many first-round picks to get guys like Drew Holiday, Damian Lillard, try to add, some pieces around it for some of the subsequent runs that they went on. Again, some of those ancillary pieces. So they don't have second-round picks and first-round picks and all these different things. They waived Dame and decided, hey, we are willing to take a $22.5 million cap hit over the next 5 seasons so we can try to go get somebody that we can put together a winner. And the Miles Turner thing, it's worked when Giannis has been healthy, right? But and I think those two still pair well together because he's big, who can shoot, he can block shots, and you're not requiring Giannis to play 5 over the course of an 82-game season. But the Bucks have shown that willingness. It's just now, okay, with the limited resources that they have, and they'll pick up some resources. Again, they can, trade the rights to that pick, right? If they want to trade the pick that they have upcoming in this draft, they can make that pick for someone and then trade his rights to someone as part of a deal to bring somebody back that they want for Giannis. So they'll have more access to some of those things this summer as well if they're trying to keep Giannis around. But the issue isn't the Bucks wanting to win a championship. They've shown that willingness. They've done everything in their power. We yell and scream about the Brewers and the Packers and going all in and never. The Bucks have been all in since like 2019.
Yep.
All right. We're going on 7 years of being all in. And it's just a matter of, okay, now with some of the things that you're hamstrung with because of some of the other all-in stuff that you've done, can you do it one more time to convince him to stay?
And that's the point I'm making, Gabe, right? Is you have run yourself, it seems, out of options. But what rabbit can John Horst pull out over the course of the next, say, 4 to 5 months that leads Giannis to going, all right, I think we've got a squad that can do it here. I think we've got a team put together that can get us back to where we were 5 years ago in 2021 with 100,000 people screaming their heads off in the Deer District when we won the first championship this city has seen in 50 years. What can they do? The good news for the Bucks is they've bought themselves some time. They haven't gained any significant assets over the course of this week as we count down to the deadline, but they've bought themselves some time. And to me, that within itself is an asset because I understand if you're looking for a particular package to send Giannis elsewhere, I can all but guarantee none of them are going to be Giannis. None of them are going to be the level
you're never
of
going to get equal value in return. I mean, we've seen that with any big trade.
Yeah.
Over the course of history. And the most recent example is a year ago when the Mavericks inexplicably sent Luka Doncic to the Lakers and got what they got in return, which was basically Anthony Davis and a first-round pick which they subsequently traded Anthony Davis already this week, right? Anthony Davis going to the Lakers. What the Pelicans got back did not equal Anthony Davis in his prime at that moment. So anytime one of these big-name players ends up getting traded or leaves a team, you're never going to get equal value unless you happen to hit the lottery. But
let's acknowledge that.
The Bucks could draft like an all-NBA player, but it's still not going to equal Giannis because Giannis is like a top 20 player of all time.
Exactly. But we're acknowledging that. So if you're John Horst, if you're the general manager of the Milwaukee Bucks, knowing you have limited assets to work with and knowing the true elephant in the room is he's gone after next season, right? He could walk for nothing in free agency. But if you're John Horst, I think the belief always should have been, unless I get an undeniably good trade package from, say, Golden State or Miami or Minnesota or any of the teams that were interested, I'm going down with the shit, man.
Oh, yeah. And I've always been on that team.
Yeah, me too.
Like, I think that's the way to go because you're not going to get Giannis in return. And, okay, you'll figure it out when he's gone, right? Okay, we'll figure out what life after Giannis is actually gone. And I've always felt that when this thing gets truly interesting, because I think behind the scenes, as we kind of continue to learn what was happening, I mean, Giannis is having some input here. Right? I don't think we're finding out about teams that he'd be willing to sign extensions with. I don't think that's an accident, right? Like, those are the reports out there. And, yeah, now that he's going to be staying here, the interesting date, the most interesting one, is October 1st, 2026. And Giannis hasn't always signed it on the day it's been put in front of him, but eventually he has always signed that contract for the Milwaukee Bucks. If he refuses to sign that on October 1st, yes, that's not technically asking for a trade, but now the Bucks have to decide, all right, do we want to just ride it out with one more year with Giannis, or do we actually want to trade him and get something? And that's when this game of chicken can really pick up. But again, maybe Giannis gives an indication that we're going to go through what we did last offseason. Bucks lose. It's disappointing to the Indiana Pacers. And Giannis has some input, but the way it typically goes for Giannis, he goes over to Greece, kind of does his own thing. Last year, he was playing for the Greek national team and playing off-season basketball, and the Bucks certainly will check in with him. But it's not like Giannis is pulling all these strings behind the scenes the way we think that LeBron does with all the different teams that he's been on. John Horst kind of does what he does, knows that he's trying to build a competitive team around Giannis, and then they check in. That's what happened this last offseason. Yeah, I'm sure they called you. Hey, Giannis, what do you think about Miles Turner? If we went out and tried to get Miles Turner, I'm sure that conversation had, but I don't think that was Giannis going, hey, Miles Turner, let's figure out a way to get him. I just don't think that's the way it goes. I think that Horst in this front office do what they do, then they check in with Giannis, which is how we found out then, even after they had picked up Miles Turner, Giannis had his flirtation with the New York Knicks before the season began. Ultimately, though, obviously, he's still here. But we're going to go through that again this offseason, where we're going to hit the offseason, we're going to hit free agency, we're going to hit the NBA draft where the Bucks actually have a first-round pick, and we'll see how that all plays out. And if Horst can put something together, then maybe they feel good about Giannis signing that extension on October 1st. And if not, then the Bucks do have to make a decision of, okay, do we trade him and get nothing, or do we just play this out and get potentially nothing in return?
It's very clear this is doing one of two things, right? It's either delaying the inevitable by not trading Giannis at the NBA trade deadline, and, they do it in the offseason, or it's giving John Horst an opportunity to win him back over and get to that date you just mentioned, October 1st, and put the Supermax in front of him and say, hey, you want the extra $60 million plus that you can get only here? And that's the fascinating piece to all of this, because I've held the opinion throughout the entire season. Once Giannis committed to Milwaukee, he was committed to Milwaukee. Now, the way the basketball part of this went was, well, the Bucks aren't very good with Giannis, and they're certainly not very good without Giannis. Despite winning their last two games, shout out to them, back up to 20 wins on the season on the day of the NBA trade deadline like we all expected, Gabe. But it's either going to go one or two ways. And either way it goes, it spells out this. This story isn't over.
No.
It's not even close to over, but it does buy the Bucks time. And if you're like me or if you're like Gabe, Bucks fans, the Bucks are better with Giannis on the roster.
Yeah, the Bucks are relevant. Like for so much of my life, I have loved the Bucks, for a long time. My first ever jersey was a Vin Baker jersey as a child. I had some interesting ones as a kid. I had a tractor-trailer jersey. I had a Sean Respert jersey. I had a Terrell Brandon jersey. I had a lot in the 90s. And then there was that brief run in the late 90s into the early 2000s with Ray and Big Dog and Sam where they were at least relevant. And then they make the run to the Eastern Conference Finals, and they were then irrelevant for another 20 years until Giannis came along and was able to take them to an Eastern Conference Finals in 19, win a championship in 2021. The Bucks go back to being irrelevant the second Giannis is off this roster. And that's why I want Giannis to be here for as long as possible. I enjoy the Bucks being relevant. I enjoy them. I enjoy the game of basketball and watching them play at a high level inside Fiserv Forum, which is why I want him to be here as long as he humanly possibly can and don't care what happens after. Mm-hmm. Any assets that you have, if you think you can make this team better and convince him to stick around and even just give us the glimmer of hope to win a championship, do it. And we'll figure out the rest later when he's no longer here.
I've often said self-awareness is the most important human quality, Gabe.
Which is a bit of, little irony coming from you, but continue.
We didn't need to say that part, but that's fine. John Horst, I think, has enough self-awareness to realize if Giannis ain't here, John Horst probably isn't for very long either. Because the Bucks, like the Thanos snap, fade into irrelevancy the minute Giannis is gone. And sure, if you trade him, maybe you try to take a page out of the Oklahoma City Thunder playbook and Sam Presti, their general manager, and add as many draft picks as you can for the foreseeable future, and hopefully most of them pan out, and then all of a sudden you have a young up-and-coming team like Oklahoma City does. But the reality of the situation is what Oklahoma City has pulled off, virtually impossible. Virtually impossible. It's never been done that way. It worked.
No.
It worked when Oklahoma City did it, and it took several years of the Thunder, being very bad. They weren't very good for
Well, and they also hit, they traded, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander turned out to be obviously a world-class player, which is sometimes you need to get lucky in these trades where a young guy, because again, think about what it takes to win a championship, and it's just about anywhere. I mean, again, OKC being the example of they hit on so many of their draft picks, so they're this young, really good team. But SGA is, he's an intriguing prospect when they trade Paul George to the Clippers. But the Clippers obviously did not think that he was going to be a future MVP. So he develops. But the Bucks and Giannis don't have a championship if not for Chris Middleton, who is a throw-in to a trade. Obviously, the Pistons had no idea that Chris Middleton was eventually going to become multiple-time All-Star, an Olympic gold medalist, somebody who could score 40 points multiple times in games during the postseason, clutch shots, knocking down big ones in big-time postseason games. The Pistons never thought that was going to happen.
It's a great point.
So they get him in this throw-in, and he develops into this unbelievable player. So maybe one of these guys that you end up picking, that can help put you over the top. But you also need to have that stud in place, like Giannis, in order for all that to ultimately work.
We are under 2 hours until the NBA trade deadline. Giannis will stay put, according to reports, in Milwaukee. Now Milwaukee looking to add some small salaries. They've already done so by bringing in Nick Richards and Nigel Hayes-Davis, same Nigel Hayes that played for the Badgers, Madison. From the Phoenix Suns, Cole Anthony and Amir Coffey go to Phoenix in that deal. Is there more to come? There hasn't been a trade in almost an hour in the NBA. What's going on? Crickets.
I mean, that there is the report, though, from Jake Fisher, who's part of the Mark Stein group. Stein's been obviously an NBA insider for definitely longer than you've been alive, maybe longer than I've been alive. Maybe not that long, but he's been around for a long time. And Jake Fisher was saying there was some interest for the Bucks for Ja Morant. So I think we're no longer on Giannis watch because it appears that Giannis is going to be sticking around. I think we're on Ja Morant watch, and I'm not sure how I feel about that.
I don't know how I feel about that either, but we will certainly dive into that as well as some of the other reports surrounding the Giannis Antetokounmpo news. We are with you until 2 o'clock, which is when the NBA trade deadline hits, leading into Kyle, Brust, and Nortman here on ESPN Wisconsin. How are you feeling? Good or bad move for the Bucks to hang on to Giannis, at least until the offseason, if not the foreseeable future? Phone lines open for you, 800-990-3776. Again, the Carbless Talk and Text line, 800-990-3776. This is more with Carbless. We continue to react and count you down to the NBA trade deadline. It's ESPN Wisconsin's trade deadline special right here. ESPN Wisconsin, the ESPN Wisconsin app, and ESPN Wisconsin on YouTube.
We'll be back with more of the NBA trade deadline show on ESPN Wisconsin.
Attention, have you racked up $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is notifying consumers about significant debt relief options currently being made available to help those with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan, and you may only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe, even if you have bad credit. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers, so don't wait. If you owe $10, $20, or even $100,000 in credit card debt, you can now take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living continues to skyrocket. To check what debt reduction you may qualify for, call 800-750-2525. That's 800-750-2525. Again, that's 800-750-2525.
On this show, it's always football season.
I would have liked to have seen the process go a little bit longer. I would have loved to have seen them evaluate. And then if it still comes back Gannon, great.
Wilde and Tausch, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin.
It did feel like there was maybe a little bit of a push. If you don't bring him in and get him done now, he's going somewhere else.
Weekdays from 9 to noon on 94.5 ESPN, ESPN Milwaukee's YouTube channel, and the ESPN Wisconsin app.
Disney on Ice presents Frozen and Encanto in one exciting family experience. Sing along with Anna and Elsa in wintry Arendelle. And celebrate the power of love, y familia, with Mirabel and Bruno in the show everyone will be talking about, live in your hometown. Coming to Fiserv Forum February 12th through 16th. Tickets on sale now. Visit DisneyOnIce.com for show details.
Hey, it's Kyle Wallace. February is all about love, and while you're out here showing love to your partner, don't forget about a place that shows up for you every single day, your home. Right now, when you buy 2 windows, you get 2 free. That's a real deal, and there's no limit. You'll also get 0% interest for 36 months, $500 off your next home improvement project. Call 414-410-2000 or visit universalwindowsdirect.com to schedule your free estimate today. And like me, you'll be saying, I love my windows.
My overall experience with Gruber Law Offices has been phenomenal.
The treatment was excellent.
They will be supportive of you. They will listen to you.
It was a great experience knowing that I had people to help me.
I know I could count on them to do what I needed to get done.
Experience with Gruber was great.
They gave me my life back.
It was amazing.
He gets results.
We know how to win. If you've been injured, call Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all.
Gruber Law Offices had my best interests at heart.
UW Credit Union presents the Student Athlete of the Week, supporting local student athletes as they grow on the field, in the classroom, and in the community. UW Credit Union is here for every you. Learn more at uwcu.org.
With your UW Credit Union Student Athlete of the Week, I'm Will Summers. This week's UW Credit Union Student Athlete of the Week is Altoona Junior Grayson Becker. One game after joining the 1,000-point club, Becker delivered another eye-opening performance, pouring in 44 points in a win over Ellsworth. He finished the night 14 of 19 from the field and added 8 rebounds, continuing a stretch of play that has defined his standout season. Becker has been one of the most productive scorers in the state, averaging 26.3 points per game, along with 3.5 rebounds and 3.3 assists. With growing Division I and Division II interest, Becker continues to raise the bar as his junior season rolls on. Congratulations to Grayson Becker, your UW Credit Union Student Athlete of the Week.
40,000 people. Let that number sink in for a second. That's not a crowd, that's a small city. But they chose relief without surgery. 40,000 people who said stop before replacing their knee or hip. There has to be another way. And they found that at QC Kinetics. Hey, it's Brad Nortman. It's those 40,000 patients who thought that they were out of options and surgery was the only answer. But today, they're moving better, hurting less, and getting their lives back thanks to QC Kinetics and their advanced regenerative treatments. The truth is, surgery isn't always the answer. QC Kinetics and Dr. Ashley Caravelli is right here in Milwaukee, using safe, natural treatments backed by real science. Treatments that activate your body's natural healing powers. safe, natural, and non-surgical. And this is critical. The sooner you start, the faster the inflammation will ease. So it's important to get started now. 40,000 people can't be wrong. Before you say yes to surgery, call QC Kinetics for your free consultation. Call now at 414-240-2298. That's 414-240-2298. 414-240-2298.
Homer here from ESPN Milwaukee. What makes living at Three Pillars so special? Let's hear from my friend Dave.
The campus is beautiful. For me, nature is my church, and I love being outside. We live by the Bark River, and it's just it's calming. It just calms my soul. I just love it. A lot of the people, I'm talking about 100-year-old people, 90 years old, say they credit Three Pillars with living longer.
Looking for a delicious meal without breaking the bank? Cousin Subs has you covered. Our $10 meal deal gives you a 7.5-inch ham and provolone, turkey breast, or veggie sub piled high with fresh hand-sliced ingredients, crisp veggies, and all your favorite toppings. Add a bag of chips or regular fries, a fountain drink, and a cookie, all for just $10. This deal's available online or through the Cousins app only. And you can enjoy your meal at home, at work, or delivered straight to your door, hot and fresh. Cousin Subs. We believe in better. Available at participating locations. Offer subject to change.
Breaking Bucks news on ESPN Milwaukee. Giannis Antetokounmpo is staying with the Bucks. React to the news here on 94.5 ESPN, the ESPN Wisconsin app, and ESPN Milwaukee on YouTube.
ESPN Wisconsin's trade deadline special. 90 minutes to go until the NBA trade deadline. Giannis will remain put, at least for now, in Milwaukee. We will see if they make some other moves. Alex Strouf, Gabe Neitzel with you from downtown Milwaukee as we continue to unpack what this means for now, for the future, and all the in-betweens for the Bucks and for Giannis. I thought this was interesting, Gabe, from Jake Fisher of the Stein Line. Quote, "They were never serious," said one team executive who was discussing a Giannis Antetokounmpo trade with Milwaukee. I don't like this quote. Okay. I don't think it's accurate. It's not that they were never serious. It's that they never got a good enough offer to really consider it, right? And I said this to you off the air. Okay, Gabe, you're looking to trade your house, right? You're looking to give me, ownership of your property, your beautiful house. And I say, all right, Gabe, I'm going to offer you a broken desk chair and a pencil. It's very sharp, by the way. It's sharp pencil. And you say, sharp. It's a very sharp pencil, and the wheel's a little loose on the desk chair, but it works.
Okay.
It's
not a mechanical pencil.
No, not a mechanical pencil. True graphite. True graphite.
Right, I mean, okay. It
very
feels
sharp.
Feels like you're really selling the pencil now, but okay.
And the desk chair, it's comfy. It's just it's a little messed up.
Yeah.
And you say back to me, yeah, no, I'm good. Does that mean you weren't serious about trading your house?
No, if you got the right offer, right? If you got the right offer, I would be willing to trade my house. That is obviously not the right offer. And I think the Bucks had better offers than your little hypothetical that you put out here. Because it seemed like the issue that and again, who knows if there were more offers behind the scenes and how accurate everything that ultimately was reported out there ended up being. But it seemed like the Bucks, who wanted picks and young players, had to choose either between picks, which is what the Golden State Warriors had. I don't know how interested you were in Jonathan Kuminga, but seeing as how one of the best coaches in the NBA and Steve Kerr refused to play him for 17 straight games earlier this year. 17 straight games, not injured. DNP coach's decision.
Yep.
Doesn't seem like a guy I would necessarily want to build around, but again, maybe your mileage may vary. So, yeah, those 4 picks that the Warriors would be throwing out there could be enticing, especially once you get to that 2030, 2031 area where you assume Stephen Curry's no longer there and maybe they're not very good, and that could be a high lottery pick. But you don't have that young player to kind of help build this roster and make it an entertaining team that people want to come watch. So, okay, what about Miami? Oh, Miami, Khalil Ware. Some similar issues there. He's younger, so maybe you can kind of explain away some of the things that Eric Spoelstra said about him recently he only played 10 minutes because the game got a little fast and we just couldn't have him out there. Okay, doesn't really seem like a player you want to build around. But again, he's 21 years old, has a lot of potential there. Tyler Hero, mileage may vary, but he is an all-star player from here. I think people would be interested to see what that would look like. But Miami only had 2 picks, and you're probably going to want something a little bit more than that out of Miami. The Knicks, I don't think, ever could really put together a serious offer. Same thing with Minnesota. Like, they would have had to stretch so many different things to put together a worthwhile offer because they had some young players I think the Bucks would have been interested in, but they spent all their picks on Rudy Gobert, so don't really have any picks that you can get in that situation. And I think that once you hit the summer, it's just easier to put together these multi-team trades. Right now, during the regular season, it's just so difficult to do, which is what some of these teams could have done. And once, you open up, if Giannis isn't going to be here in 26, 27, which again, I hope he is, you also open up the bidding to teams that now have more salary cap space, roster room, all these different things, and you can get potentially more teams involved in a Giannis bidding war.
This is a good thing for the Bucks, yes?
Yes.
It's a good thing for Giannis.
That he is here for the rest of the year. Yes.
I go more indifferent. I don't know that it's necessarily a bad thing, but he's been very clear, without being super clear, if that makes sense, on what he wants, right? The thing he wants more than to win in Milwaukee is, frankly, just to win. And it's very clear that's not going to happen this year. Even if he returns and they allow him to play and they activate him and they try to make a push for the play-in or maybe the 7 seed and get into the playoffs, whatever, right? I don't think they're winning a championship this year. And given the lack of assets, how can they build a contender and a true championship roster next year? I don't know. It's a good thing for the Bucks from a perspective of you're buying yourself some time to win him back over, and hopefully once October 1st reaches, you slap the Supermax in front of him and he signs it. That's a good thing for the Bucks. For Giannis, though, he's no closer to winning a championship today, tomorrow, or in June than he was yesterday or 2 days ago when he was talking to Jim Ozarski and Eric Name.
But I don't know how much closer. Had he gone anywhere but... And again, I think the more serious offers came from Miami and from Golden State. Even with Giannis, I don't know how much of championship rosters they have there. I think that would have been more of a move for both those teams. Hey, we have Giannis here. Maybe we can get some experience with him on our team, win a playoff series, and then probably bow out and be more aggressive in adding around Giannis this offseason. So I guess technically it would have been a little bit closer because those are more playoff teams, but I don't look at Miami, even with Giannis, I don't look at Miami or Golden State as currently constructed as championship caliber teams, which if that's what we're talking about for Giannis, that's the important part. But again, the Bucks have a lot of work to do. Like this is now the start of the work for that front office because you were able to hold, again, I guess maybe I'm speaking a little out of turn here because we're still 86 minutes away from the trade deadline. And, we got to wait until we get to 2 o'clock. But that's when the work for John Horst and company starts because you're going to have to try to put together a plan that you think Giannis is going to be on board with to keep him here long term because he doesn't want to go. He doesn't want to. As long as you can be competitive.
So I guess I agree with you that the real work starts at 2 o'clock, but you mentioned they've got 86, now 85 minutes.
Okay.
What can they do in the next 85 minutes that helps them achieve that goal? And ultimately, I know a lot of the work will have to be done in the offseason. I understand that. But can they do something? Can they acquire an asset? Say that's a second-round pick. That's a first-round pick. That's free up some space. Is that trading Miles Turner? Is that trading Kyle Kuzma? Is there something you would like to see them do in the next 85 minutes that goes, okay, that feels like it's at least a little bit of a jump start on the offseason here on February 5th?
Yeah, I don't know what that is. If you can try to offload some of these for draft assets that you might be able to flip then this offseason, or even set yourself up to have some draft assets in case Giannis decides he does indeed want to leave. Yeah, I mean, there are a couple little things that the Amir Coffey and Cole Anthony trade is just really interesting because everybody's on an expiring contract, right? Yeah. Like you were just basically flipping a guard and a wing for a center and a wing, right? Like that's basically what you did because everybody's on expiring contracts, so it doesn't make a ton of sense for me as to why you did that, unless you are bracing for Giannis not playing the rest of the year and you want some bigger bodies out there. If you're going to be without him, because that's an area where, I mean, outside of, I know at times they've played Kuz at the 4, but mean, you got Jericho Sims, you got Miles Turner.
He's gotten a little run the last week.
Well, and Bobby Portis, but that's it. You got 3 bigs on the roster, and you thought you were going to have 4 because Giannis isn't healthy. So maybe that's just kind of prepping you for Giannis going to be out longer than you think. But yeah, I mean, there are some things that they can do, and I'm sure that John Horst, who has always been creative when it comes to these situations, I'm sure he's trying to figure out a way, if he can turn Bobby Portis into something that might be more desirable down the line in terms of trying to build something around Giannis, which would still sting because Bobby's the unofficial mayor of Milwaukee.
Yeah, no doubt. But what's more important, the mayor of Milwaukee or winning championships? I think we both know the answer.
Yeah, and the other tough part here is I think that no matter what the Bucks do, even if they get Giannis to agree to a supermax in October, I don't think that they're necessarily going to be a championship team in 26-27.
Oh, yeah, I agree.
Because they're just, the roster is so, the pieces don't all work together right now. And as we've seen in the NBA, it usually takes a little bit of time. Very rarely are you able to throw all the pieces together and you become a championship contender.
And Gabe, I think that's what people maybe that are angry at these reports or angry at the situation, which rightfully so. You don't want to see your favorite player ever and the best player to ever play for this franchise be traded. But that's the hard part to understand is he's 31 years old. That prime only lasts so long, right? What is he? I mean, I would guess because he's such an anomaly, he's probably got 4 to 5 really good years left after this season in the association. And so, okay, how long of a timeline are you paying Damian Lillard? $22.5 million per year. Oh, wait a minute. That's 5 more years.
Four more years, yeah.
4 more years after this season, right. Okay. Well, what about some of the young up-and-coming talent they have? Well, they don't really have a ton. Ryan Rollins is a nice piece. I'll give you that.
And I'm really excited about Ryan.
I am too.
To see the growth that he had this year, and you kind of, again, hope he can continue to grow and play really well. Again, that's one of those diamond in the rough players that you're hoping
for sure, and you need more of those.
Oh, 100%. But that can be a contributor.
But that's kind of close to the end of the list, right? Like I can make a case of, AJ Green's a nice piece. And
every team's got somebody like an AJ Green,
and I'm glad you've got him for the foreseeable future.
Yeah.
But is there anybody else you're dying on the sword for here, Gabe? It's Rollins, it's Green, it's Giannis. Is there anybody else you're going, they need that to have a championship identity?
And look, I as much as I like those guys, I'm not saying they're untouchable.
Of course not.
Right? Like if you think you can turn that into something else that's going to make it better and make more sense around Giannis.
Well, as long as it's not Ryan Rollins for Ja Morant, which...
no, thank you. Because again,
that's a name that's being floated around here with 80 minutes to go.
And I know last segment I said maybe we're on Ja watch because Jake Fisher had reported that the Bucks had some interest in Ja Morant. I don't know how that works because
spoiler alert, it doesn't.
Because I look at and I don't know. I still have a hard time saying Dame and Giannis didn't work. Because we didn't get to see them paired in the postseason. You know what I'm saying? Like, yes, they didn't win a postseason series with those two guys, but also they didn't really play a postseason series together.
No.
Because of the injuries that Dame and Giannis and all these things that happened. And because there were moments where it worked. But I think the best thing, when I think about that 2021 team, and it worked. Yeah, you had a point guard in Drew Holiday who, yes, could bring the ball up and do that. But Drew didn't need the ball in his hands a lot. Giannis still had the ball in his hands a ton. Chris didn't need the ball in his hands a ton. Chris could create. Chris could do all the pieces seemed to work. And when you have somebody who's already as ball dominant as Giannis is with the ball, acquiring somebody else who needs the ball to be their best version of themselves, as we saw with Damian Lillard, I don't know how much that works. And the thing about Ja is he's just, not a good shooter. And for all this work this offseason to try to put as many good shooters around Giannis as possible, that would seem to fly in that face. Again, Ja, good player. I just don't think that he would fit with Giannis. I don't think that that's a championship caliber point guard that you would want to be pairing with Giannis. Mm-hmm. Again, while he's a good player, I just don't think it would ultimately make sense for the Bucks.
Yeah, the Bucks.
But when you're desperate and you can get a star, a guy like who's been as good as he has been in this league, and if he's being sold for pennies on the dollar because the Grizzlies already went out and got 4 first-round picks for Desmond Bain and 3 first-round picks for Jaren Jackson.
So I guess as we dwindle down the time remaining until the deadline, and I expect the Bucks probably to make another move or two, the way it sounded from some of the insiders like Jake Fisher, who you mentioned with the Stein line, and Shams Charania of ESPN, who indicate that the Bucks probably aren't done making moves, but it'll be minimal, right? It'll be salary moves. Is this a team that is in win now mode, or is this a team that is embracing the suck right now and hoping to maximize that draft pick? Because I don't know that we have a clear indication of where they want to head. Either way, Giannis wants to play, but maybe the Bucks could say, yeah, we're not going to activate you. You're done for the year. You're not going to play. I just don't really know where they want to trend the remainder of the season as we sit here on trade deadline day. That's where I'm struggling in the big picture of this.
And I think that's what we're hoping to find out in the next hour plus.
You think moves will, I mean, I guess if they go for a Ja Morant, well, that tells you, okay, they're trying to win now. But if they're just going to acquire, and nothing against Nigel Hayes-Davis, who was awesome at Wisconsin, that doesn't really tell me one way or another what they're doing.
Yes, if they just kind of stand pat, I don't think that gives you an answer. But if they move off of a couple of players to get a draft asset or a younger player that might be a little bit more controllable, I think that gives you the answer. And that's what I'm hoping for. Because we don't get to hear from John Horst all that often, right? We don't hear from the general managers all that often. So we just have to go by the actions. What do the actions tell us about this team? The actions this past summer told us they wanted to go all in and try to keep Giannis here, and they did. Now it seems like Giannis is going to be here at least for the rest of the season, hopefully for longer. But what does that mean for the rest of this year? What does it mean for next year? And you're hoping that some actions, again, these are the last actions that John Horst can make. Because after the trade deadline, he's looking forward to what are you doing for next year in terms of building that roster? Okay, what can you do right now to try to either tell us that you're competing and trying to get into that play-in, maybe playoff spot? Again, playoff to get all the way up to the 6th spot seems damn near impossible right now.
Sure does.
So getting into the play-in and then earning your way into the playoffs through that way. Or are you trying to build something that you're able to make this team better for 26, 27?
Hey, Bucks still lead the league in three-point percentage. Got that going for them.
Well, if they traded for Ja, that would no longer be the case. Yeah, he's shooting 23% from three, by the way. I'm not being a hyperbolic when I'm saying he's a bad shooter. 23% as a point guard?
Not great. Not great. All right. Tim Bontemps, Hoop Collective, going to join us coming up next on the ESPN Wisconsin NBA Trade Deadline Special. Gabe Neitzel, Alex Strouf with you. Tim Bontemps is next on ESPN Wisconsin.
We'll be back with more of the NBA Trade Deadline Show on ESPN Wisconsin.
Access to education changes lives. That's why National University provides flexible online and hybrid programs from associate to doctorate degrees. Since 1971, NU was built to serve non-traditional working and military learners nationwide. NU understands the demands of work, family, and service. Each year, more than 130,000 learners trust National University to move forward. Visit nu.edu to learn more.
I'm Boomer Esiason. My mom died from cancer. She was only 37 years old. She didn't have life insurance, and that was devastating for my family. That's why having life insurance is so important to me. Ethos makes it fast and easy. Get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. You can get up to $3 million in coverage with no medical exam.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/play. That's ethos.com/play. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Career changers, including veterans and active duty service members. Your transition starts here. Go from GI to IT in a matter of months. Become a certified cyber warrior with training at My Computer Career. Cybersecurity specialists are in high demand, offering IT pros great opportunities and a rewarding lifestyle while protecting our people, liberty, and treasured institutions from cyber threats. Deploy your career in IT today at mycomputercareer.edu/CWP, an elite CompTIA certification partner.
VA education benefits are available to those who qualify.
I'm Boomer Esiason. My mom died from cancer. She was only 37 years old. She didn't have life insurance, and that was devastating for my family. That's why having life insurance is so important to me. Ethos makes it fast and easy. Get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. You can get up to $3 million in coverage with no medical exam.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/play. That's ethos.com/play. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Hey, this is Jason Wilde from Wilde & Towns. Valentine's Day is almost here, and Racine Danish Kringles has you covered with their heart-shaped Kringle. You know my family loves Kringle from Racine Danish Kringles, and sometimes they share it with me. Racine Danish Kringles offers a heart-shaped Kringle with pink icing in raspberry, chocolate silk, cherry, and pecan flavors to send to your loved one. Order at Kringle.com or call 800-4DANISH. Racine Danish Kringles, the official pastry of ESPN Wisconsin. It's not just a treat, it's a tradition.
People say buying a home in winter is tough.
But fewer buyers means less competition, and motivated sellers can mean better opportunities.
This is Tony Wendorf with Tony Wendorf & Associates, powered by Keller Williams.
And I'm Lindsay Bendler. When the perfect home appears, our team at Tony Wendorf & Associates helps you move fast, even during the snow.
Start your home journey today with our white glove service by simply searching online Tony Wendorf.
A real estate team that always leads with faith and gratitude.
Tony Wendorf & Associates.
Wisconsin homes ask a lot of their windows and doors. They need to be ready for anything year-round. At Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin, everything we do is built around quality and durability. You shouldn't have to make compromises to ensure you're comfortable at home. So right now, take advantage of 0% financing for up to 4 years. There's never been a better time to experience Pella in person and get all your questions answered. Join us at the NARI Spring Home Improvement Show, February 13th through the 15th at Wisconsin State Fair Park. Book your in-home consultation at the show and receive a free Design Works rendering. From design to installation, Pella's local experts are there to guide you every step of the way, helping you choose the right options for your home, your style, and your budget. Thanks to 0% financing for up to 4 years and our 10-year limited warranty, you can feel confident in your decision long after installation day. PellaWI.com.
Certain restrictions apply. It's 2/28/2026.
If you're into muskie fishing, the Muskie Expo is the place to be this coming weekend, the 13th through the 15th, where you'll find an excellent assortment of everything muskies, held at the Washington County Fair Park. Find out more at muskieexpo.com.
Injured? Call Gruber Law Offices today. One call, that's all.
Your taste buds are in luck. The Reuben is back at Cousin Subs. Try this classic sub grilled to order just for you. Stacked with corned beef, Wisconsin Swiss cheese, and sauerkraut topped with Thousand Island dressing and served on rye bread. And our delicious mint shake is back. Both the Reuben and mint shake can be ordered via the Cousins app or online for a limited time only. Cousin Subs. We believe in better.
This is the NBA Trade Deadline Show on ESPN Wisconsin.
ESPN Wisconsin's Trade Deadline Extravaganza is with you. 94.5 ESPN Milwaukee, 100.5 ESPN Madison. You can also watch us with you until the deadline at 2 o'clock Central, ESPN Milwaukee, ESPN Madison on YouTube as well. He is Gabe Neitzel. I am Alex Strouf with you from downtown Milwaukee, and joining us now from ESPN, he's a senior NBA writer as well as part of the Hoop Collective. Tim Bontemps joins us now. As I feel like he always does on big NBA days around here, and often I'm saying, hello, Tim, good to talk to you. The latest with Giannis is wacky, isn't it?
I wouldn't say that. I've not really expected him to get traded throughout this process until at least this summer. I mean, I certainly thought there was a world where he could get traded now, but, you know, for example, to go way back in the Wayback Machine to 2013, when the Celtics ended up doing the huge trade with the Nets for Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett at the draft, where they sent those guys to Brooklyn to play with Darren Williams and those guys. They started making calls on Paul Pierce at the trade deadline in February, and they ultimately didn't like what they got, and so they waited, but they had a sense of what the market was, and they did the deal in the summer. And I think this is a similar kind of situation. Because Giannis has had this calf injury, because of where the Bucks are, where they are in the standings, it is, I think, perfectly reasonable to survey the market, see where teams are at, and then let the playoffs play out, see who is disappointed around the league. I think there's going to be a lot of activity this summer, and that is going to give opportunities to teams like the Bucks to potentially cash in on that. So we'll see if other things happen between now and 3 p.m. today, but certainly I think waiting on Giannis, seeing where the market's at, seeing where the draft lands, maybe the Bucks get lucky in the lottery. There's a lot of reasons why I think it makes sense to do a deal potentially in the summer and to do one more so than to do one today.
So, Tim, I guess the next part of it is, yes, it looks like Giannis is going to be here pending something wacky happening in the next hour, 9 minutes. But now that he's here, he has told multiple local beat writers, whether that's Eric Name of The Athletic, Jim Ozarski of the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel, that, yes, he does love Milwaukee, doesn't want to leave, but if they're not competitive, then he doesn't really see a chance to stay here. Do you think the Bucks have an opportunity to build something over, again, in the next hour plus or even into the offseason that makes Giannis want to stay in Milwaukee?
No, I don't really think so. And I think this is the right time for everybody to say it's been an incredible run and move forward. The Bucks have done a remarkable job of being competitive over the past handful of years. And if not for some bad luck in the playoffs, Middleton getting hurt a couple years ago, et cetera, like maybe things look different. But they got a title, which is all that really matters. As my buddy Windhorst likes to say, you never have to say you're sorry when you win a title. And it's been a remarkable run. Giannis had an unbelievable career in Milwaukee. And I don't think it'd be the worst time for I would say it's not the worst time for everybody to say, all right, look, we can get a bunch of young future assets in here. We can start to turn this thing in another direction, and Giannis can have a chance to go compete for a championship, because to go back to your original question, I just don't think there's a realistic way for that to happen in Milwaukee. And if that's the standard Giannis wants, like I want to be in Milwaukee, but I want to have a chance to win, there's not really a way for that to happen. I think with where the Bucks are at, with where their roster's at, with where their assets are at, I just don't see the path of them getting to that kind of level again.
Tim Bontemps with us here on ESPN Wisconsin's trade deadline extravaganza, senior NBA writer for ESPN. The Bucks make a minimal move shortly after Shams Charania reports that Giannis will stay put. Cole Anthony, Amir Coffey out. Nick Richards, Nigel Hayes-Davis in. All four of those contracts expiring at the end of the season. Tim, what do you think the Bucks can/should do over the course of the next hour? Just stand pat and lick their wounds the rest of the way, or what do you think the path is here the next hour plus?
I think it's mostly to continue to try to get some youth, some athleticism, some future draft capital of any kind. Whatever they can do to try to, continue to get any future forward-facing stuff they can. Because again, it shouldn't be about this season. It shouldn't be about trying to make the roster better right now. I certainly don't think they should be giving up future draft capital to do that. I don't think that makes sense. It's not exciting. It's not sexy, but I just think they have to start digging from the situation they're in. And, I think the real work is going to come once we get to the draft lottery, see where the draft pick lands, and then there's real conversations about what Giannis's future is and what they're going to do.
Tim Bontemps on NBA trade deadline day. We know you're busy, Tim. We really appreciate you taking a few minutes to chat with us.
All right, thank you. Appreciate it.
That's Tim Bontemps of ESPN giving us some national insight on everything going on in Milwaukee. Sounds pretty clear to him, Gabe. This thing's over one way or another, just isn't over today.
kind of burst our bubble of thinking maybe the Bucks could pull something off to keep Giannis around the summer and get him to sign that Supermax on October 1st. And no, he was real blunt with where he thinks the roster is right now for the Bucks and where they stand. And if the standard for Giannis is he wants to win championships, it's going to be tough to do that again here in Milwaukee.
I often don't reference movies because I haven't seen a lot of movies. And I know that's a pet peeve of yours towards me, right? I just don't know movie references. But I'm telling you there's a chance. So you're saying there's a chance. How'd I do there? I didn't like the play. Yeah, Dumb and Dumber is what I was trying to reference.
you played it up a little too much, and I don't know if you stuck the landing. I know what you're trying to say. Look, of course there is a chance. Like there would be 0% chance had they traded him today.
That's correct. Yes.
Right?
Good math.
So now you have that opportunity, as slim as it may seem, to try to convince Giannis, yes, we can put something together. Again, it's going to be hard.
Yeah,
it's $22.5 million. So your salary cap space is eaten up, and yeah, okay, you're going to have more access to draft picks, and maybe you can trade, this pick on draft night or the rights to that draft pick on draft night.
But the issue is, I just think this team has to look a lot different next year. And as it stands right now, I don't know how it looks a lot different next year. you can hang on to a few of these guys, right? Like Ryan Rollins and AJ Green are two guys you and I are both like, hell yeah, sign me up, keep them.
Mm-hmm.
After that, I don't know who you just. I don't know how you package this up, put a bow on it, and say, Giannis, this is the shiny team we're putting together that can compete for a championship next season. Please sign on the dotted line right there. I just don't know how we get there, and that's the part I'm struggling with. But the good news that I'll continue to say is the Bucks have bought themselves some time, and time is an asset in this
100%.
case, right? We were talking about assets of young players and draft picks. Time is an asset for John Horst, and he's, in an hour and 3 minutes, going to buy himself just that.
Yeah, and I'm curious to see what other kind of moves if the Bucks ultimately end up making any other moves. But again, the problem becomes, we talked about the things that have to go right to win the championship, and maybe you find a diamond in the rough the way Chris Middleton is. It usually takes time to have those diamonds in the rough develop, as we're seeing with Ryan Rollins. Like taking a nice, good, big step forward this year, but is he going to be ready to be a really good contributing player on a championship caliber team next year?
I'm not going to say no, just given the meteoric rise he's been on, right?
Sure.
We saw him kind of come out of nowhere last year as a nice role player, filled in a little bit in the starting lineup towards the end of the season, and this year he's become the full-blown starter since KPJ rolled his ankle in the first game of the season against Washington. But is he ready to become a number 3 scorer?
I was about to say, right now on this roster, he's your number 2 scorer behind Giannis, when Giannis is healthy.
When Giannis is healthy.
He's your number 2 scorer.
That's not championship worthy. They just won their 20th game, and it's February 5th, right? You give me a break. But could they add a piece where Rollins becomes your starting everyday point guard, and he can be your number 3 scorer, and maybe you add a wing that can be a complement next to Giannis if he's playing the 4? Like, there might be a path, but then you run into the same issue that they ran into with Damian Lillard when he was here, which was, can you stay healthy?
Yeah.
And that's why, in retrospect, obviously the Dame move didn't work. And it's costing you now $22.5 million a year this year and 4 more. But it's a swing you're going to take 10 times out of 10, right? That was a championship-level swing by John Horst, and I think he still deserves credit for taking the swing. It just hurts you for years and years to come.
Whether it's today, whether it's this summer, anybody that you acquire that you think can be that number 2 behind Giannis, chances are there's going to be a risk. Like we've talked about John Morant. There's risk in acquiring John Morant. It's part of the reason why he's available right now, right, for the Memphis Grizzlies. If there's somebody else out there that you think could potentially be that guy, at this point, with the assets that you have, because it's not like you have the top assets available to go out there and get this top-notch guy like you did when you went and got Drew Holiday or Damian Lillard, there's going to be some questions. And Giannis would have to take a leap of faith in order to sign that extension in October. Would he be willing to sign that? Again, to me, I think you do it. You do everything you can to try to keep him around. And look, if Giannis still says no and you end up having to trade him this summer, then you end up having to trade him this summer. But to me, I would exhaust everything that I have to try to get him to say yes on October 1st.
Gabe Neitzel, your final thoughts with an hour to go until the trade deadline.
Again, today it's just more about taking that big sigh of relief because Giannis is going to be here. Again, if we're trusting the reporting that's out there for the next, just hold your breath for the next hour. But then we'll see. I don't think that him being here after the trade deadline signifies that Giannis is still here long term. There are still hurdles to clear before we arrive there as Bucks fans, unfortunately.
I'm with you on that. The story far from over. No doubt about that. Gabe, appreciate the time. That's hour 1 of our extravaganza, the NBA trade deadline extravaganza here on ESPN Wisconsin. Joining me for the next hour is a former teammate of Giannis Antetokounmpo's. He hosts
Nigel Hayes.
And Nigel Hayes. Yeah, great. Nigel Hayes Davis, that is well. Nigel Hayes Davis.
He knew him as Nigel Hayes.
He did know him as Nigel Hayes. Ben Brust will join me for the 1 o'clock hour of our extravaganza. Counting you down until the NBA trade deadline. That's next.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-736-6158 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-736-6158. That's 800-736-6158. What do you have to lose? Call 800-736-6158. Again, 800-736-6158.
Half of American parents cannot afford diapers. This is WTMJ's Kristen Bry. This spring, WTMJ and the Milwaukee Diaper Mission are teaming up to change that. Join me for WTMJ Cares, Bowling for Babies, where we will raise funds for Milwaukee Diaper Mission. Join us March 7th at Village Bowl in Menominee Falls, where you can bowl with your favorite WTMJ hosts. Text BABY to the WTMJ Talk and Text line 855-616-1620 to get more information on how you can be part of our latest WTMJ Cares event.
Without an Advent clinic nearby, people suffering needlessly from chronic nasal congestion and sinus infections would be stuck with either Band-Aid or sledgehammer solutions. Band-Aids are pills or nasal sprays, and they're not true solutions. Surgery is a sledgehammer, and that's what we're trying to avoid. Because most people don't need surgery for nose and sinus issues, nor do they want a 14-day recovery. Our unique Advent approach can, in 20 minutes in our office, open your blocked nose for good, with only 1 day recovery. I'm Advent founder Dr. Kandula. Outside of Advent's four walls, invasive surgery is what they'll recommend. But here you will find effective and convenient in-office solutions to help you stop the need for Band-Aids and avoid the sledgehammer.
Go to adventknows.com to schedule your appointment, because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better. Most insurance accepted.
Don't think twice. Call Geist.
Don't let a busted garage door get you down. Call my friends at Geist today. For 70 years, Geist has been the trusted garage door authority in Wisconsin. With brands like CHI and LiftMaster, they have doors for every budget and will even build custom designs to get your exact needs. For swift and reliable garage repair solutions, go to geistdoors.com. That's GEIS doors.com. You can also visit their amazing showroom in Brookfield, featuring hundreds of doors and openers and their custom design room.
Don't think twice. Call Geist.
It's time for the Marquette Minute on 94.5 ESPN. Brought to you by Matrix Basements.
Despite holding an 8-point lead at the half, Marquette could not hold off a comeback from Big East foe Seton Hall as they fell 69-64. The loss brings the Golden Eagles to an 8-14 overall record and 3-9 in Big East play. Sophomore Royce Parham was sensational as he had 17 points, 6 rebounds, 3 steals, and 2 blocks. Freshman Nigel James Jr. also chipped in 16 points, 6 rebounds, and 3 assists. Here's head coach Shaka Smart after the loss.
It was choppy. I mean, it was a physical game. Just too many turnovers against a team like Seton Hall. They make you pay, and we turned the ball over 16 times. Not good enough.
The Golden Eagles will get a week to rest before returning home to take on Butler for National Marquette Day on Saturday.
Brought to you by Matrix Basements. Visit gomarquette.com/matrix to enter to win 4 tickets to National Marquette Day Saturday, February 7th, when Marquette hosts Butler.
With other language learning apps, I was just playing games. I wasn't really learning. Babbel's different.
Babbel was designed by over 200 language learning experts to be the most effective way to learn another language.
Every time I open the app, I can choose to work on my writing, speaking, or listening. And it saves my mistakes for me to review, so I'm constantly improving. Before Babbel, I thought I just wasn't good with languages. But now I'm speaking French. Tout ça, c'est grâce à Babbel.
Save up to 50% on your Babbel subscription when you sign up at Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. Did you buy a timeshare because they told you it was a great investment? That's a lie. Most timeshares can be bought online for $1. To find out what your timeshare is worth and to cancel it, call us today and we'll send you our timeshare exit kit free with all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley for your free exit info guide. 800-885-3333. That's 800-885-3333.
Hey, this is Gabe Neitzel. You're listening to 94.5 ESPN, WKTI and WKTI HD, Milwaukee.
A locally owned Good Karma brand station.
This is the NBA Trade Deadline Show on ESPN Wisconsin.
ESPN Wisconsin's Trade Deadline extravaganza party rolls on. Less than an hour to go until the NBA trade deadline at 2 o'clock Central. I'm Alex Strouf. Gabe Neitzel has stepped out to fulfill some other duties, and joining me now is a former teammate of both Giannis Antetokounmpo and Nigel Hayes-Davis. I think there's only like one man on planet Earth that can claim both of them, which is pretty sick. Ben Brust of Kyle Brust and Nortman joins me an hour early now. Benny, your reaction to all of this, because this is it's been quite a hectic week, but really the last couple of hours where this is picked up seems like Giannis will stay put in Milwaukee, at least for the time being.
So I would say off the rip, I'm not surprised they're not moving him at this deadline. The question now becomes is, what do the Milwaukee Bucks prioritize for their franchise moving forward? Is it are we, with our limited assets and resources, going to try and pull the rabbit out of the hat, even though we have Stretch Dame and we have the Miles Turner contract? Like, what are they going to prioritize? Is it going to be trying to trade what they do have for, I know Ja Morant's been mentioned, but like Ja Morant isn't somebody that I think you're going to bring into Milwaukee, and Giannis next summer is going to be like, oh man, you guys brought me Ja Morant, and the rest of the young guys that we have right now are going to entice me to stay here. It's really a scary proposition if they try and do more for Giannis, because if you do more for Giannis, you're hurting yourself even longer of building the franchise back when he leaves. But if you're a Bucks fan, you say to yourself, well, I want Giannis as long as possible, and if that means we take swings, we're already kind of in hell anyways in the future, so why not go to extra hell in the future, if that makes sense, right? Like, if this is about keeping Giannis from a Bucks standpoint, then do everything you can with what you have, which is more limited than it's ever been in the time that Giannis has been a Buck. It's an eerie feeling, because by no means does this mean that he's staying, but by no means does it mean that he's leaving, but it's closer to the former. And the former is Giannis leaving in June equals what, right? And as I was thinking last night, and I think I said this to you at the end of Kyle Brust and Nortman Strouf, if I'm the Bucks and I'm in management, and I know Golden State pulled out, and then early on we heard reports of the Bucks pulling out, like, you had limited teams. You had Miami, you had Golden State, and Minnesota. Not to say that they didn't have anything to offer, but I think the pool of teams, even though I thought in my head, well, if you're going to trade Giannis to a team, they get him for a year and a half, and he's likely going to get traded to somebody that he wants to sign an extension with. Right. I don't think that half year matters as much as I thought it did, because I think if you get teams in this year's NBA season that go through the playoffs, and then you let the lottery fall into place, and then you start seeing how many teams think they're Giannis away, because right now it seemed like it was Miami, Golden State, and Minnesota. Yeah. In the past, it was New York, right? So my overall point is, when teams go through this playoff run, a lot of them are going to come out of it thinking they're Giannis Antetokounmpo away. And believe it or not, I don't think you want to be making decisions in this shack of just boom, boom. You're getting report after report after report after report. I think you want to make sure, if you're going to move on from Giannis, that you have as many players as possible. You talk to everyone on the phone. You don't have as much leverage because he's trying to get out, even though he's not asking out, right? You're doing what's best for the franchise. But the more players you get involved, the more opportunity you have to set up your franchise for success, if that is the route that happens in him moving in the summer.
I think that's all really well said, and props to you. It seems like you spent a lot of time thinking about this last night.
I did. I mean, after I played basketball, I was really wired, and so I couldn't fall asleep till 12:30. So I'm just scrolling on Twitter,
and you're reminiscing about the time you threw an assist to him.
No, and even everyone asked after basketball is like, "What do you think?" And I just started spewing out all of my thoughts, and like where I've landed is it's frustrating, because I still think it's going to be hard to convince Giannis, which, again, I will continue to go back to, as much as all of the articles were really amazing to read from the Journal Sentinel and Eric Name of The Athletic. like Giannis sharing the love that he has, talking about, where his dad is buried, what the passport say for his children.
Right.
That matters a lot from a humanity standpoint, but from a competitor and a legacy standpoint, he's made it very clear that he wants to win a second championship. Even in those articles, he says, I'd be here if we weren't fighting to make the playoffs. Right, but that's your telltale sign, because I know all know that he wants to win a second championship, and if the Bucks cannot provide that, even if the next 50 minutes they make a move, we can dissect it. But the only way we should be dissecting it is not if you like the player and like what they did. Is what do you think Giannis thinks about this? And I know we can't really think we're not Giannis, but that's the only way you should be looking at this. Because the only way Giannis stays is if Giannis sees a path to a championship. And that's what makes it hard, because the limited assets and resources that they've had, that they've been able to do and able to take swings at, because all of that has led them to a point where now you're like, all right, is the Golden State offer that was on the table better because their picks are in the 2030s, when likely you have your own picks again as well and can get more picks, and you're just building for the future? Or do you want younger players from Miami with maybe 3 first-round picks instead of 4? Like, again, I want, if the Bucks are going to do this, to call every team that was in the playoffs that thinks they have a chance to win a championship and compare offers, use as much leverage as they can, because they still have one of the greatest players in the world that everyone wants, and we can't forget that.
Yeah, I think that's all really well said. I'm just confused on, and I said this to Gabe a little bit ago, Benny, and that's, well, what's the Bucks' goal the remainder of the season now? And obviously the next, what are we down to now, 48 minutes, will be telling of that, right? Are they adding legitimate pieces, or is it just the salary thing? No offense to your guy Nigel Hayes, but like that's not an all-in, we're trying to win this.
He could be waived like in a second.
Yeah, I know he could. Though I would like to see him play in Wisconsin, because we all love Nigel. Now,
Doc loves playing young players.
Yeah, definitely. Do we get to a point, because now we've got the back and forth, right? Windy is saying, well, I suspect the Bucks shut down Giannis.
Yep.
Where Eric Name is reporting that Giannis is going to want to play as soon as he's healthy, which he's a competitor. That's not a surprise. But do they go into a mode of, okay, if we really want to win over Giannis, right? If we want to use this extra time we're buying ourselves to get to a point where we slap the Supermax in front of him by October 1st and say, hey, please sign this. We want to keep you here as long as possible. How do we get to a point between now and then that wins him over the most? I think a high draft pick probably helps that. So maybe not right away in 26, 27.
But does it?
Well, or it helps you from trading that pick and acquiring a more of a proven commodity, right? Something in that capacity. But I guess I'm confused on where the Bucks go from here now that we know Giannis is back.
It's a great confusion, because
it is confusing.
Because it's very confusing, because what would you do? Let me just ask you that. You're the general manager. You're the front office. You know that he is now here through the end of the season. You know what's coming up in the summer. You know what this lottery looks like in terms of talent that are in there. Like, the reason why I bring that up is because that's part of the shut down or let him play.
Yeah.
Right? Because if you let him play, you're not getting closer to that, which means you're not getting closer to a pick that you can trade for a player for Giannis. Because if he plays, he's going to make the team better. So I'm asking you, what would you do?
Yeah, and I think a part you left off, and maybe you did say that there was another trade that came through, but nothing related to the Bucks. You make him angry by not playing him, right? You upset him by not granting him his wish of wanting to play, right? And
no,
you don't think he's mad about that?
If you do that, he's gone.
But if you play him, he's not necessarily gone.
Correct.
So then I probably play him, but
if you play him,
you're
potentially hurting ways you can help.
I don't know that it's
keep
potentially.
Giannis.
I think you're just hurting it.
That's what
right?
I'm saying, in terms of like what you had mentioned of if he plays, they're going to win more games and hurt their percentage chance in the lottery to get.
Now, I'm telling you this right now. This is not the best move for a general manager. What I would do, because I'm going to the emotional factor.
That's why I asked you, because I'm going to be the one that's not the emotional one.
I'm probably playing him. If he wants to play, he can play. I think they're also just going to be in a position where I don't know that they can climb back out of that hole.
I was going to say, part of this is I could probably give the argument that it makes most sense to shut him down. You could make the argument that it makes sense to play him, because then
it keeps him happy.
You know, he's playing, he's in Milwaukee, whatever. But like, does that help you if you're winning games and not getting closer to a draft pick? You're not going to win a championship this year. I almost think it sucks either way.
Oh, it does.
I hate to say it out loud, like kind of like the annoying part out loud, but I think you're damned if you play him and you're damned if you don't play him.
Yeah. I tend to agree with you.
So what is going to be most telling to me is if the Bucks shut him down, that's the Bucks telling us that they're trying to tank, likely to build with whatever they get from Giannis in the summer.
Yep.
But if they play him, they're saying, we love you. We're still going to try and do everything we can for you. And also, again, the trade deadline is not over. If they bring in a piece, then they'll try and play and start building something for next year and then say, we're also going to try and make X, Y, and Z moves in the summer. So, but again, I'm not convinced that whatever they do with their limited resources, even if he does play and they bring somebody in, then they'd be building for next year, that team can win a championship. So again, it just kind of sucks. I'll say the quiet part loud. Even though he wasn't moved and even though he's still here, I love it from an emotional standpoint, but it sucks from a future of the Bucks standpoint.
Mm-hmm. You confused yet? You're listening to the ESPN Wisconsin Trade Deadline Extravaganza Party. Ben Brust, Alex Strouf with you from downtown Milwaukee. Yeah, of course it sucks, and it has sucked, and the whole thing sucks, but it's the harsh reality of trying to, it's the analogy we keep using, pull the rabbit out of the hat, right? Trying to capitalize on not only winning one title 5 years ago, but trying to win more titles since. That's why you take the Damian Lillard, or you make the Damian Lillard trade, and you lose a bunch of draft assets, and then it doesn't work, and then he tears his Achilles, and now you've got to try to find something that you think will make the team better and wave and stretch
then
it.
You're trading Chris to get out of like the second apron area. And
here's the thing, man. I don't envy John Horst at all for what the next several months will bring, because he's going to have to try to do what I just said again, and that's pull a rabbit out of a hat, even though I think he's out of rabbits.
That's the thing is like how do you bring people in and convince Giannis when you don't have what you had in the past?
I think you've got to
bring guys in to make it again, I have to keep saying this, a championship level team, because all that matters to Giannis at this point moving forward in his basketball career is winning a championship. It has nothing to do personally about how he feels about the Milwaukee Bucks or the state of Wisconsin or the city of Milwaukee. It's when he looks at the team and he looks at what you bring in potentially at the end of this deadline if something happens, and he looks at whatever lottery pick that they may have, like, would you wait around if you were Giannis to see if whatever draft pick they have, which is a very talented class of the top 5, like this isn't Oklahoma City where like Giannis is gonna like take time to build, and he can expedite growth, right? He can expedite young players that are very talented into a chance to win a championship, because that's how much I believe in him.
Sure.
But that's a hard path and
still
a limited opportunity for Giannis's time as a prime superstar.
It's still asking
it's a
lot.
You're asking him to take a risk on the Bucks' plan
on something that's uncertain.
And you just mentioned Horst. Why right now when he's out of rabbits?
How good of a magician is he? That's the ultimate question, right? How good of a magician is he?
But like it's not even that. I don't even know if he can be a magician with what they have.
Sure. Well, how good of a magician is he? I mean, I mean, I'm using it in an analogy form, but how good of a general manager are you? How much can you win over the guy that's given you such a great career? The one point with John Horst that I think is interesting to point out, it doesn't really mean anything yet, because the Bucks could still find their way into the play-in or the playoffs, but he's never had a lottery pick as the general manager. Not one.
Do you trust him? Again, this goes back to John Horst. Again, I think it's a little unfair to John Horst on judging draft picks. Now, would you have liked to have had better players that have stuck around and grow with the team? I know they traded A.J. Johnson with Chris Middleton. When you're picking in the 20s to the 30s, you're not like in the NBA, it's the lottery, and then you get these rare occurrences where the Jokic's and the Jimmy Butlers and the Draymond Greens become superstars. Like they're a dime a dozen. So it's hard to judge him on that, but it doesn't mean I trust him as well to crush the lottery, even though it'd be really hard to screw up based off the talent if they do end up in the situation to pick in the top 5.
Okay, I think I've got it figured out. So transitive property, Luka Doncic was traded for Chris Middleton and A.J. Johnson.
In a way, yes.
Yeah, transit property. That's what happened. Let's take this call, then we'll hit a break. Ron in the Key. Oh, boy. Don't ruin our show, Ron. Go ahead.
I'm going to try not to. You guys are doing so well because you have chemistry as best friends, which kind of leads to my next question of this. I think both of these things can be true. I absolutely believe Giannis is a top 3 player in the NBA. Honestly, you could argue best when you consider both ways, defense and offense. And I think he is one of the least fit with other players in the NBA. His skill set makes it so essentially the only players that fit well with him are catch-and-shoot guys. And I want to know if Ben thinks that's crazy.
It's not crazy, but I think it's a great take in terms of this is what I believe, he can only do X. But I don't know. We've only seen him, and I know people bring up Damian Lillard, right? Oh, he was with Damian Lillard. Look what they did. This isn't the Damian Lillard of true Dame time. Yes, he had a cool shot. I want to say it was against Sacramento. Was that when he hit the 40-footer to end the game? And it was the moment where he looked down. I don't know. Yeah. I think it was Sacramento. Regardless, my overall point is, it's not like Giannis has ever played with a true superstar. He's had pieces fit perfectly. Drew Holiday fit that team perfectly.
Yeah,
it's not like Chris Middleton didn't get the ball in game time situations to make plays.
Multiple time All-Star, but by no means a generational superstar.
Correct. So I think it's unfair to say that Giannis can't play with others when he's been the guy, right? He's never not been the guy. So it's you can't say that without the evidence of knowing that he can't play with another superstar that's ball dominant. Because Damian Lillard wasn't the Damian Lillard of Portland Trailblazers, where he was Dame used to be able to dunk on guys. When he was with the Bucks, he was still a crafty scorer, using the rim up and under, but he wasn't that explosive Damian Lillard that was amazing, right? We literally saw him get injured because he was at the back end of his career. So I think there's a question mark that you can put next to Giannis in terms of playing with others, but I don't think it's fair based off who he's played with to say that he can't play well with others.
I think that's a good answer. Ben Brust, Alex Strouf with you. We roll on after this. It's ESPN Wisconsin's trade deadline extravaganza party on ESPN Wisconsin.
We'll be back with more of the NBA trade deadline show on ESPN Wisconsin.
Rich Eisen here. For small businesses, every hire counts, and so does your time. Hiring can quickly become overwhelming, from sorting applications to figuring out who's truly qualified. That's where LinkedIn Hiring Pro helps. It streamlines the process so you can focus on connecting with the right candidates, not managing the noise. Hire right the first time. Post your job and get $100 off towards your job post at linkedin.com/Eisen. That's linkedin.com/Eisen. Terms and conditions apply.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/game. That's ethos.com/game. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
All day, every day. The Carbless Talk and Text line is open for you.
First off, there is not one team that's on the fringe that scares me.
800-990-3776. The Carbless Talk and Text line. This is more. Stay up to date on the Green and Gold all off season. The Green and Gold Fix podcast is brought to you by Potawatomi Casino Hotel. Luxury stay, elite play, unwind in sophisticated comfort. Win big, dine, and experience the events in Milwaukee.
Elevate your game day gear or any outfit with official merchandise from the Milwaukee Bucks Pro Shop. From authentic jerseys to exclusive apparel and accessories, the Bucks Pro Shop has everything you need to showcase your fandom wherever you go. Cheer the deer to victory with authentic Milwaukee Bucks items. Visit us at the Bucks Pro Shop at Fiserv Forum or Bayshore Mall, or shop online at shop.bucks.com.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-793-8074 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-793-8074. That's 800-793-8074. What do you have to lose? Call 800-793-8074. Again, 800-793-8074.
Selling your home during winter may surprise you. Serious buyers are still out there and often more eager to move.
Homes get strong offers this time of year, and with less competition, your listing can really shine.
I'm Tony Wendorf with Tony Wendorf & Associates, powered by Keller Williams.
And I'm Lindsay Bendler. Our team leads with faith, gratitude, and giving back, donating over $200,000 to local causes since 2020.
Tony Wendorf & Associates is ready to get to work for you with our white glove selling experience. Just search online, Tony Wendorf.
A real estate team that always leads with faith and gratitude.
Tony Wendorf & Associates.
Life's better with American Family Insurance because we know you love working weekends. If it means working on your dream home, both inside and out. And we're here to help protect those dreams so you can enjoy peace of mind. Save up to 40% when you bundle home and auto. American Family Insurance. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products, pricing, and availability vary based on the way you purchase insurance and by state. Some exclusions apply. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating companies, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
Hey, it's Kyle Wallace. February is all about love, and while you're out here showing love to your partner, don't forget about a place that shows up for you every single day, your home. Right now, when you buy 2 windows, you get 2 free. That's a real deal, and there's no limit. You'll also get 0% interest for 36 months, $500 off your next home improvement project. Call 414-410-2000 or visit universalwindowsdirect.com to schedule your free estimate today. And like me, you'll be saying, I love my windows.
At Big Fish Contracting, we want every home project to be a good story worth sharing. That's why we as a team aim to exceed your expectations. We can improve any aspect of your home. Everything from a complex remodel to the essential roof, gutters, siding, and windows. Integrity, humility, and kindness are why we've grown in southeastern Wisconsin for the last 2 decades. Visit bigfishcontracting.com to learn how Big Fish is renovating homes and redeeming an industry.
It's ESPN Wisconsin's Gabe Neitzel for Events by Design. Events like appreciation parties and retreats can go a long way towards boosting morale and retaining top talent. Events by Design is your go-to creative partner for employee events that truly make an impact. They help leaders retain top talent by making their people feel seen, valued, and celebrated. The creative team at Events by Design does all the planning and production, making sure things not only look great, but also work. Make a smart investment in your culture today. Search online, Events by Design. They design, you party.
Start your Milwaukee weight loss program now to lose weight fast. Many lose 20 to 30 pounds in a month or two. Call for your free consultation. 262-235-3980. 262-235-3980 or online at MilwaukeeWeightLoss.com.
Results may vary.
Proud partner of your Milwaukee Bucks. One call, that's all.
This hour of the Rich Eisen Show is brought to you by the Milwaukee Bucks. Get your single game tickets to watch the Bucks take the court this season at Fiserv Forum. Get tickets at bucks.com/single. This is the NBA Trade Deadline Show on ESPN Wisconsin.
ESPN Wisconsin's trade deadline extravaganza, spectacular, exclusive. Alex Strouf, Ben Brust with you. Will Summers running the show for us on ESPN Wisconsin, ESPN Wisconsin app, ESPN Wisconsin on YouTube. 30 minutes to go until the NBA trade deadline, and we are still awaiting any more moves for the Bucks as reports have come out that Giannis will stay put. Giannis is going to remain a Milwaukee Buck through the trade deadline. And entering next season, ultimately, or at the end of the season, rather, ultimately. They did make one other move that was pretty minute, I guess would be the word I'd use, Benny. But your former college teammate involved in there, Nigel Hayes-Davis, at least for now, is a member of the Milwaukee Bucks.
Yeah, I mean, it's great for him to even be in the NBA with his journey. But honestly, this show is about Giannis. Like it's about Giannis. And if you hear my voice on ESPN Wisconsin, you're going to be sick of me saying this, because when I listen to Giannis talk to his brother on the Thanalysis show, the way that he talked about having one championship and, how much that means to him, but what he wants next is a second championship. Like, everything you look at, as much as we love him and as much as you won't want to hear, as much as you absolutely, if you want to dance on Shams, who said he wants to be moved by the deadline, he's likely not going to be moved by the deadline. That's a short-term win, right? Like, it's a short-term win, but I don't know how anyone after today can feel better about the long-term of Giannis. It's almost delaying the inevitable, which I'm okay with. Again, I do believe that in a panic situation, in a short time frame, I don't think you can always make the best decisions. And with the opportunity to evaluate the rest of the league and where things fall, you can get more players involved in terms of teams, maybe players, but you're really just doing that to match salaries. I just, again, it's a short-term win. I wish, I'm just being honest with what I think is going to happen. And I know you're on the other side, which is why I love you, right? You're going to be the guy that's going to say, well, what if they do this in the next 28 minutes? And then what if they get a lottery pick?
It's not necessarily like trying to manifest that they find a way to keep Giannis. I just view this as a win. It's a short-term win, like you just called it, because when it comes down to assets, the Bucks don't have a whole heck of a lot, right? They've got their first-round pick this year, the worst of theirs, or the Pelicans, technically, which will go to the Hawks. The better of the two picks, the second goes back to the Bucks. And then they don't have a lot of money. They're cash-strapped.
What do you mean they don't have a lot of money? Hell no, they don't got a lot of money.
They got no money. They got me type of money.
They said minus $22 million. They just said, here we go. Let's just write it in, minus 22.
But the big thing for me is right now for John Horst and the Bucks, time is an asset. Time to win Giannis back over and recommit and get him to recommit to you is an asset.
Where we're different. For you, it's time to woo.
Yep.
Giannis. For me, it's time to figure out how the Bucks organization thrives after Giannis.
And it could be that too. I actually agree with you on that point, because I still think it's very, very real he gets traded this offseason. But if I'm John Horst, that's not my mindset anymore. At least in 27 minutes, it's not. Right? It can't be. It can't be your mindset. It just can't be until June or July, when it becomes real again. Right when we get to the draft, and all of a sudden the phones start lighting up again. Then yeah, you can start having those conversations again. Could you move Giannis before the draft? Yes, I think you could, and I think it's very realistic that they do move him this offseason. But if I'm John Horst and I get to 27 minutes from now and the trade deadline has come and gone and Giannis is still in my roster, that means I have time to try to make it better around him, because I said this last hour to Gabe. No matter what they get in return, we can go ahead and guarantee it ain't Giannis. It's not going to be a Giannis. It's not going to be better than Giannis. It's not going to be anything close to Giannis. They might get an all-pro out of one of those draft picks.
All-pro, man. You took a lot of football.
Yeah.
All-NBA.
All-NBA. Same thing. All-pro, all-NBA. Same diff. I do talk a lot of football.
There's actually like a big difference.
Well, same idea, though, right? It's an all-NBA player or an all-star, whatever.
I shouldn't have said it, because
but you get my point, though.
Yes,
they could get somebody that's good, all-star level player. They're never going to get a Giannis. So either A, maximize what you get back, and that's a mindset he's going to have, but now he's got 3 or 4 months to think about, how can I fix this around him to get us back to championship level.
But when the trade deadline's done, what can he actually do? Well, when you say switching your mind to winning over Giannis, that's the missing link that I have in this conversation.
You can't do anything the rest of the season.
Correct.
But once you get to the offseason,
you're sitting there in purgatory.
I don't know that I'd go purgatory.
You are.
But you're sitting there.
You literally can't do anything. You can't trade.
Nothing during the season. No, I agree with you. But it's flipping the mindset to, okay, once we get to the draft lottery,
if it's worth playing Giannis or not for the future of the franchise.
Yeah.
That's all. That's the only thing.
Well, yes and no, right? You're still trying to mend that relationship. That's another part of this. And it does matter.
Mend what relationship? A relationship doesn't matter unless you provide a team that can win a championship right now. So, sure, you can go over and say hi and hug him. He'll hug you back. He's a great guy. But he's going to be like, thanks for the hug. I'm going to look at the guys out there on the court right now. I'm going to look at every single one of them, think I can win a championship with them or not, because if not, I'm gone. So, again, I love your glass half full optimism, kind of being a jerk right now about the reality of the situation.
I think it's reality.
But, like, I just would rather be real than, like,
and for the record, it ain't glass half full. There's still a little water left in there, and I'm trying to make a 12-ouncer out of it.
You're trying to make a water fountain out of it.
Yeah, that's probably a better analogy.
But that's why you're great. You're sweet.
Thank you. Bless your heart.
Bless your heart. You wake up every day. You put your 2 feet on the ground when you get out of bed, and you said to yourself, "I'm not John Horst, but I'm going to find a way to keep Giannis."
I'm trying, man. Giannis, please stay, please.
But for the record, I'm being very brash right now. I don't want him to leave, though.
No,
for the record,
no.
I don't. I don't. It would suck. It absolutely would suck.
I still think
I had an idea yesterday. It was like we were sitting in the office, and obviously we're very fortunate to have a relationship with Giannis Antetokounmpo as our company owns and operates and helps produce with Tony Cartagena, Thanalis' show. And the relationships that have been created there, I was like, should we just create a video and send it to Thanasis to pass on to Giannis and say, like, Giannis, if you leave at the deadline or in the summer, we might not have jobs. And just hit him at the heartstrings. Make sure he stays.
You actually considered this?
This is the point. You consider everything because you don't want him to go. I'm doing the same thing, too. I'm just being realistic about the situation.
And I think the realistic portion of the situation it is more likely he's traded than not before next season. And I've accepted that as reality, but I'm always my favorite show ever is Burn Notice. And the main character, Michael Weston, often found himself, he used to be a spy, and then he was doing all these undercover missions for people that hired him, and he was near death a million times. But he somehow always found his way out of the situation. And my point is
John Horst your Burn Notice guy?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how John Horst can be Michael Weston from Burn Notice, which is...
Is Burn Notice based on a true story?
It is not.
There it is.
Bad news is this is based on a true story.
This is a reality.
Yeah.
That is entertainment of a TV show.
Come on, man.
I'm sorry. Again, do you want me to lie to you? Do you want me to just fluff you up and pat you on the back?
I'm trying to see how John Horst can evade losing Giannis, and I'm running out of options. Because
Will, you got anything? You got any last ditch solutions?
Ryan Rollins.
How is Burn Notice your favorite TV show of all time? What the hell is that?
It's a great show. I highly recommend. It's
a great show. The worst show ever.
No, that show rocks.
I bet if I walked around the 3rd Street Market Hall here in Milwaukee and I asked every person from now until...
You're familiar with Suits, right?
Of course.
It came on before Suits on USA Network.
Exactly the point. You get people that would probably say Suits and not say, the show before Suits. I'm telling you, it's better than Suits.
Suits was not popular when Burn Notice was on. Suits became popular in the last couple of years because of streaming.
Yeah, because Burn Notice wasn't a good show. Or else that would have been popular.
No, it was very popular. It's a very popular show.
All right, so we're going to try and figure out how John Horst, as you said, can stay out of near-death experiences, a.k.a. find ways to keep Giannis.
Evade ways to lose Giannis, which there's not a lot of options. That guy just walked past and boo us?
Yeah.
Okay. Got it.
He booed you specifically. He looked at you and goes, boo.
He looked at Ben and gave him a thumbs up.
He double booed you.
Big fan of Ben Brust. Ben Brust, Alex Strouf with you. Will Summers running the show on our NBA trade deadline extravaganza special as the Bucks have 20 minutes to make any additional moves, but they will hang on to Giannis through the trade deadline, which I think is fine news. I still ponder whether or not we will ever see him in a Bucks jersey again.
I just keep refreshing Twitter, wondering and looking at the notifications for all the NBA insiders, and it's just one of those things where I'm not expecting much, and that's also a bad thing.
Yeah,
because if nothing happens as well, you're even limiting even more.
It matters. It matters. And what they did earlier, which really just doesn't matter, isn't going to help keep Giannis in the long term.
They were both,
adding Nick Richards and Nigel
Hayes-Davis.
All 4 of them are. Yeah, all 4 of them are. So it doesn't help you in the long term either. So We'll keep you posted if the Bucks are to make another move here in the next 20 minutes. We're with you until the deadline at 2 o'clock. Then Benny and I will stay with you, just in a different show name. With this, it will no longer be the NBA trade special deadline extravaganza.
It'll be
exclusive.
reaction to the trade deadline extravaganza on Kyle, Brust, and Norman.
So we will keep you posted on that, but we will continue to unpack Giannis. Oh boy, we've got an alert. Go ahead.
The Bucks and Suns have expanded their trade previously to a 3-team trade to include the Chicago Bulls, Osman Dieng to Milwaukee, and Nick Richards to Chicago, sources said, per Shams Charania.
Okay.
Funny seeing everyone looking up Nick Richards and how he can fit into the Bucks, and then just like that, the hour that they've done that,
Close
is
the
now
tab.
just delete.
Ah, well.
Delete.
Well, I guess we will see.
Is he an expiring contract?
If I had to guess, yes.
I would also guess that. Okay, so if that's their only move,
Giannis is staying. Are you kidding?
Yeah, right.
I don't even think that's a new move. They just revised the move.
Revisioned, huh?
Yeah.
There you go. Attaboy. Okay.
Will anything happen of substance in the next, I would say, 30 minutes? Because
Define substance. Define that.
Not, again, anything that will make you get your heart racing.
The only thing I think that's possible is Ja Morant, and I don't even really want that.
Well, then, thanks for the fun answer, Mr. Glass Half Full.
No, I don't think so. And also, I think Giannis is going to get traded in the offseason.
I said 30 minutes because you always see like the deals.
You're right. Yeah, after 2 o'clock. My gut tells me no. I don't think it's impossible, but it's close to impossible.
Johnny Hedge.
Well,
I asked a yes or a no, and then you gave me like eight different ways of answering.
My answer's no.
There it is. Finally, we got to it.
Yeah, we got to it. All right, we will get to the end of our show coming up next. It's ESPN Wisconsin's trade deadline extravaganza special on ESPN Wisconsin.
We'll be back with more of the NBA trade deadline show on ESPN Wisconsin.
With Progressive Customer Service, there are lots of ways to connect with us, so you never have to miss a second of your favorite sport. Because you'd much rather watch a ball go through a net 124 times in 48 minutes when you don't really have to pay attention until the last 2, and then somehow those 2 minutes will take an hour. You don't want to miss all that. Luckily, you can chat with Progressive on our app, online, or over the phone without missing a single one of those times the ball goes through the metal circle. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers, not available in all states or situations.
Rich Eisen here. For small businesses, every hire counts, and so does your time. Hiring can quickly become overwhelming, from sorting applications to figuring out who's truly qualified. That's where LinkedIn Hiring Pro helps. It streamlines the process so you can focus on connecting with the right candidates, not managing the noise. Hire right the first time. Post your job and get $100 off towards your job post at linkedin.com/Eisen. That's linkedin.com/Eisen. Terms and conditions apply.
There's nothing like Milwaukee Bucks basketball at Fiserv Forum. The dunks, the defense, the roar of 17,000 fans. It's even better when you're with friends or family. From jaw-dropping plays to buzzer-beating threes, every game is packed with unforgettable moments that you'll get to share together. So gather your crew and get your single-game tickets today at bucks.com/single. That's bucks.com/single.
Ben Brust here, and let's cut the crap. I've been sold a lie with sportswear, too. You pay a fortune for big-name gear, a fancy logo, a slogan, and it still stinks. Iron Jock doesn't play that game. Silver ion technology is woven into every thread, killing 99.9% of odor-causing bacteria. And now, through February 10th, our listeners can get 40% off all Iron Jock orders over $50 with the code SUPER40. Shop now at ironjock.com. That's ironjoc.com.
The pursuit of fair wages and top-of-the-line benefits is achieved when the right union has your back. The Sheet Metal Workers Labor Union is extremely diverse, representing Wisconsinites working HVAC, architectural metals, welding, specialty fabrication, and much more. Make great living wages with outstanding benefits, pensions, and apprenticeship programs in trained, safe working environments. The Sheet Metal Workers Union is a leading force in the revitalization of the labor movement in Wisconsin.
Hey, y'all. It's the Rocket Roger Clemens here. I spent years on the mound giving everything I had, and now I feel every inning in my knees, back, and shoulders. But I didn't want surgery, and I sure didn't want to be sidelined. That's why I turned to QC Kinetics.
QC Kinetics Medical Director Dr. Christie and his team use regenerative treatments that help your body heal itself. No surgery, no meds, and no downtime.
Whether you're teeing off at the club or chasing the grandkids around, QC Kinetics helps you get back to doing what you love.
Call QC Kinetics now and schedule your free consultation. Natural joint pain relief with real results.
Don't let the pain slow you down. I didn't, and neither should you. My friends at QC Kinetics, they'll take care of you.
Call QC Kinetics today and schedule your free consultation. QC Kinetics.
Call QC Kinetics 414-240-2298. That's 414-240-2298. 414-240-2298.
Valentine's Day is almost here, and Cousin Subs has the perfect sweet treat. Our limited-time chocolate strawberry shake mixes rich chocolate and sweet strawberry flavor into one creamy, indulgent sip. Share it on a date, or enjoy it just for you. But hurry, it's only available through February 15th. Order in store, online, or in the app today. Cousin Subs, we believe in better.
Homer here with a message about Three Pillars Senior Living Communities, located on a serene setting along the Bark River on 300 gorgeous acres. Three Pillars Senior Living Communities is a top-ranked full continuum community. Active adult, independent living, assisted living, memory care, skilled nursing, and rehab. Three Pillars, the hands-down choice for you or your loved one. Been there. Know people who live there. They love it. You gotta go to Dousman and see it in person. Get all the info on Three Pillars at threepillars.org.
Don't think twice. Call Geist.
Don't let a busted garage door get you down. Call my friends at Geist today. For 70 years, Geist has been the trusted garage door authority in Wisconsin. With brands like CHI and LiftMaster, they have doors for every budget and will even build custom designs to get your exact needs. For swift and reliable garage repair solutions, go to geistdoors.com. That's GEIS doors.com. You can also visit their amazing showroom in Brookfield, featuring hundreds of doors and openers and their custom design room.
Don't think twice. Call Geist.
This hour of The Rich Eisen Show is brought to you by the Milwaukee Bucks. Get your single game tickets to watch the Bucks take the court this season at Fiserv Forum. Get tickets at bucks.com/single. This is the NBA Trade Deadline Show on ESPN Wisconsin.
ESPN Wisconsin's NBA Trade Deadline special extravaganza continues. I'm Alex Strouf with you, and the revolving door of co-hosts just keeps spinning. Benny got Will hungry, so he's going to eat before KBN. Joining me now are the other two parts of the KBN, the K and the N. Kyle Wallace is here. Brad Nortman is here. Hi, Bradley.
Hey, Strophy. You're sounding great. Happy to be a part of it.
12 minutes to go until the NBA trade deadline. Now, Will mentioned it. So the earlier trade for the Bucks that really means nothing has been expanded to a 3-team trade. And rather than Nick Richards, the Bucks receive a guy by the name of Ousmane Dieng, who was traded yesterday from the Thunder to the Bulls. But a little fun fact for you on Ousmane Dieng. He was a part of the Thunder last year, so he's an NBA champion. And the year prior, he was part of the Thunder's G League team, the Oklahoma City Blue, and won the G League championship. So he has won back-to-back titles in some capacity, meaning I think the Bucks are now going to win the NBA title.
Yeah, that's right. I think 3 times in a row, 3 times a charm. These things happen in threes. Everything is pointing to another NBA championship here in 2026.
There you go. Yeah, no sarcasm detected at all from either of us. Brad, real quick, want to get your take on everything that's unraveled over the course of today. Giannis will remain in Milwaukee. A small move made, but the Bucks, we'll see where they go from here.
Yeah, I don't think anything really changes. I think Giannis sees the team, sees the culture, sees where he's headed, and knows his prime, and thinks that he probably is better off to be elsewhere to win that second championship. That is and should be the highest priority for him. And I just think that the Bucks did not get what they wanted to in order to trade him right now. So buying yourself a little bit of time, there's nothing wrong with that. And I think that it was going to take a king's ransom to have a king like a king like Giannis go ahead and leave the Bucks. So I think
good marketing by LeBron there.
That's right. I think that they looked at their offers, said this isn't good enough. We need great, we need amazing, we need top shelf. Probably didn't get it. We'll probably reassess come summertime. I still don't see a scenario where he is a Milwaukee Buck starting next season, and I'd be surprised if he plays again the rest of this season.
Yeah, I mean, shout out to the Bucks and bravo to the Bucks for sitting here playing the game, because a lot of us didn't have trust in this organization that they were going to do right by the organization and that they're going to end up doing right by Giannis. We were nervous because we seen the trade results from John Horst, but bravo to the Bucks for standing firm and not flinching when it came to some of these trade offers that they were getting from other teams. Listen, you weren't getting a star from these other teams. You're talking about trying to Draymond Green and Jonathan Kuminga. Jonathan Kuminga just got flipped for Kristaps Porzingis. I'm going to sit here and be excited about Jonathan Kuminga coming back on a potentially expiring contract. I'm going to be excited about Tyler Hero. Jaden McDaniels is good, but he's not a blue chip superstar. And so for me, the Bucks did not get an offer for Giannis that would have been worthy of them swinging the trade, and they stood firm. They didn't allow the pressure from Giannis. They didn't allow the pressure from outside noise to say, oh, you got to move on from him. They said, we're going to do right by the Milwaukee Bucks, and doing right by the Milwaukee Bucks is waiting to this offseason where you have more of a pool of different people that are going to maybe step up and say, well, we want to get in this Giannis sweepstakes. Instead of having 3 or 4 teams, you may have 10 teams this summer.
We will continue to react all afternoon here on ESPN Wisconsin to the NBA trade deadline, which is now just 9 minutes away. Seems like Giannis will remain on the Bucks, but want to take a few of your calls before we wrap up here on our expanded programming. We start with Mr. Giannis Antetokounmpo forever.
Giannis Antetokounmpo forever.
Leroy in Milwaukee, you're up.
What's up, Kyle, Brust, and Norman, my family, y'all?
What's happening?
What's up,
Kyle, Leroy?
What's happening? What's happening, family?
What's up, Leroy?
Man, you know I've been Brust, you know I've been, you know me. But I tell you what, I'm in good spirits, y'all, family, because what's wrong with it? What's wrong with John Morant, y'all? What's wrong with y'all? What's wrong with him? I know he got off the court issues.
So you're asking why I don't want John Morant, Leroy?
Yes.
Because he stinks as a
yes.
shooter, and he needs the ball in his hand most of the time.
The problem with Ja is the fact that Ja is purely off the court. Don't fall into this trap.
He shoots 23% from outside.
Yes,
23%.
Listen, I'm about to look up Ja.
23% from outside.
I'm about to look up Ja Morant
for a team that leads
stats.
the NBA in three-point percentage and needs shooters, and it's still not resulting in winning. Adding a 23% three-point shooter that needs the ball in his hand.
He's a walking highlight reel, but he's high volume. He's ball-centric.
Career 31% three-point shooter.
Yeah, but I think he peaked in like 21, 22, 23.
Oh, come on now.
That's a long time ago.
He's like 25.
But also, you don't want a guy who needs the ball in his hand 90% of the time when you're working with Giannis.
No, I'll say this. I don't sit here and watch Ja Morant all the time, but I will say Ja Morant is a talented guy.
I'm not disagreeing with that. I just don't think it fits. It's not a swing with
fit with who?
Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Y'all still think Giannis is coming back next year?
Well, if you're
Brett, did you just tell me Giannis not coming back next year?
Kyle, you need to catch up. If the Bucks were going in the next 7 minutes to add Ja Morant, that is clearly a move they are making out of desperation to keep Giannis.
That's true.
Right, they are trying to add what they view as a championship piece. I don't think it's going to happen. Real quick, we've got less than a minute. Diana in Mukwonago. Diana, go ahead. Oh, I think she hung up. She's
not Dirty
Diana,
D
go ahead.
dropping off. What up, Dirty D?
Dirty D.
Hey, you guys are raining on my parade. Giannis is still a Milwaukee Buck, and he's gonna be a Milwaukee Buck next year.
All
so
right.
don't rain on my parade.
When you say next year, do you mean in 2027 or
Yep.
you mean? Okay.
Wow.
Yep.
Okay. What makes you believe that, Dirty D?
Okay. Thank you.
What makes you believe that, Dirty D? Okay, you're welcome.
Okay. So
all right.
Okay. Optimism. Eternal optimism for Dirty D.
That was good. She sounds like me. She sounds like she's taking a page out of my book.
Don't try to rip Giannis from her hands, Kyle.
We need to live in a reality. And how much I love Giannis, I could not say with 100% certainty. I felt, I said it. I didn't think he was getting traded by today because I believed the Bucks wouldn't make a stupid decision. But I would be a fool to think that Giannis is going to be getting traded, not getting traded this offseason.
All right, plenty more from Kyle Wallace and Brad Nortman and Hungry Ben Brust, who will rejoin us in a couple of minutes. Kyle, Brust, and Nortman, as we are just 5 minutes away from the trade deadline. Will we hear anything more in the next 5 minutes? Probably more like 15 when all the final deals will be announced. We will keep you posted. All Giannis, all the time. All Bucks, all the time. A little bit of Packers thrown in. Kyle, Brust, and Nortman starts in just a couple of minutes right here on 100.5 ESPN Madison, 94.5 ESPN Milwaukee, and ESPN Wisconsin on YouTube.
Empower. Ellie here is getting the sleeve she's always dreamed of. She worked with Empower and planned for her next move, so she got good at money. Now she can be a little bad. Oh, by the way, you spelled journey wrong. No worries. She can afford the cover-up, too. Ooh, check out my tat. It says, invest well, live a little. Start today at empower.com.